Dear aspirants, welcome to my channel. Next question will be on true bearing and magnetic bearing questions. So true bearing, which will give the connection with the geographical north pole and geography south pole. The line connecting with the geographical north pole and geographical south pole, that is we call it as a true bearing. So here we considering the base reference point is earth axis rotating with the rotation and its fixed point. You are going to take it. And magnetic bearing, nothing but the line connecting the points towards north pole and indicate the magnetic compass. So it based on the magnetic compass we can take the magnetic bearing. So here we are depending upon the location due to earth magnetic field, and it is not fixed with the true meridian. Based on the location they are going to consider. So next will be explain the concept of reciprocal leveling. So what do you mean by reciprocal leveling? You should know. It is used for, you have to find the difference between 2 points far from the obstacle. There we can use there where you are going to use this type of surveying, we can use it for the river and valleys. There you can use. So in between reciprocal leveling, nothing but there is a hill will be there. Okay, we need to find out the difference of this point and this point. So a small obstacle will be there. So here we have to find out the differences. Okay, so the first step will be how it will be work. So what you are going to have to set up, you have to set the instrument in opposite ends of the line. Okay, then we have to take each point with a accuracy reversing setup, and the average measurement which help you to reduce the errors in the earth curvature of the curvature and instrumental imperfection. There you can. So next question will be describe the process of booking of levels in a surveying. What do you mean? Before going to that, what is the booking of levels? It is a type of surveying. It's a surveying, the process of recording elevation readings taken by various points during leveling of the survey. Wherever point you are going to do the surveying, there you are going to take the points, that we call it as. So how we are going to calculate the booking reading? What you are going to do, you have to set up the first step is you have to set up the instrument, that is we call it as a reference point, or also we call it as a benchmark or starting point we can represent. And you have to take the staff reading where you are going to fix the rods. Okay, first reading, that readings we call it as an backside, foresight, height of the instrument. So backside, foresight and intermediate sight, and you have to record the reading in a field book. Okay, instrument height, the point where the staff you are going to held, and you have to take the relevant measurement for the calculation. And how you are going to produce RL, that is we call it as an reduced level, each point by adding or subtracting staff reading from the height of the instrument. There you are going to determine it. What is the use of this? It is a process to determine the elevation of object with a relative reference. You have to find the elevations of the object with a relative reference. There you are going to calculate. Next question, define surveying. List the main objective of surveying. Surveying is a science and techniques to measure the surveying is a techniques measuring and mapping the earth surface with a different distance, angles, elevations and positions of nature and man-made features. The main objective is to determine the positions. It means you have to determine the exact location of the points, earth surface, creating a maps and planes, and to measure distance, elevations. Distance, it means to measure the horizontal distance and vertical heights accurately with land features and establishing the points and construction project. There you are going to use this. What are the primary divisions of surveying? So there's a divisions of primary division of the surveying. We can divide it land surveying, engineering surveying. In the land surveying, they are going to focus on measuring the mapping of earth surfaces and boundaries, elevations and position of the features, roads and buildings and natural landmarks. In the engineering surveying, they are going to use the construction projects such as bridge, road, buildings, and ensure designing and alignment and elevation of the structure, that they are going to determine. So what is define benchmark? Name the types of benchmark. So benchmark means The survey, the benchmark is a fixed reference point that we call it as a benchmark. It is a known elevation. To determine the, when you are going to start the surveying, to determine the elevation of the surveys, there we are based on the height and depth, we can find out the elevation measurements, that we call it as a benchmark. You can write only the, what do you meant by benchmark? It is a, benchmark is a fixed reference point known as benchmark. Okay, starting point, fixed reference point, that we call it as a benchmark. There is a two types of benchmark: geodetical benchmark and temporary benchmark. In the geodetical benchmark, you have to find the accuracy of the point established by the previous measurements, and there you are going to use national and regional reference survey system. There you are going to use your geodetic benchmark. Coming to the temporary benchmark, it is establishing points specific project on survey. It is not a permanent, name only indicate. It is a temporary, name only indicate. It is a temporary to the particular duration of the. So next, differentiate between true bearing and magnetic bearing. The true bearing, that you are going to measure in clockwise direction with a true north, nothing but geographical north, okay, and a particular survey line. So here we are considering based on the earth geographical poles, true bearing it means. So magnetic bearing nothing but you have to measure the angle in a clockwise direction with respect to magnetic north. It means direction of the compass needle we are going to determine. So it is depending upon the magnetic field, where the magnetic field will be there. That is one point. And the next point is true bearing. We can use true north. For example, true bearing, uses of true north, geographical north reference point. You can measure the north direction affected by the magnetic field. Magnetic bearing, it means location of the magnetic declination due to magnetic declination, and true bearings remain constant with the globally. Okay. So define intermediate site and foresight of the leveling. Intermediate site, it means the site, the reading as taken on the staff leveling point between the benchmark. Okay, of a final survey line, that we call it as an intermediate point. We call it as an, let us first point. Okay, next point. This, the intermediate middle between the points, the middle point we call it as an intermediate of point of the survey line. Same way, coming to the foresight, that foresight, it is taken by the final point, this last, if you want to end the surveying, that point we call it as an foresight, end point of the survey line, that we call it as an foresight, where you are going to provide elevation of the last point of the survey line. There you can determine. So in simple words, one more definition I will give you, that intermediate site, it is a site is taken any point between the benchmark and final point, any point between the benchmark and final point, that we call it as an intermediate point. Foresight, it is a last site as taken survey before moving to the instrument for next level. There you are going to use this foresight. So here one problem is given. The true bearing line 150 degree 30 minutes. The magnetic declination area is a 4 degree 15 minutes, which calculate the magnetic bearing. We need to calculate the magnetic bearing. It is the first one what I given, that is called true bearing. Next one is called magnetic declination 4 degree 15 towards west. So the declination towards the west of the bearing less than the true bearing. So that you have to subtract by the true bearing. Okay, so we in the calculation true bearing, write down magnetic declination, you write, we have to convert the values into terms of minutes. Okay, so 15 degree 30 minutes, so you can add 15 degree plus 30 minutes, you will get 30 minutes you convert to degree. So 150 degree 0.5 minutes, you will get a 150.5 degree. Same way 4 degree 15 minutes, 4 degree plus 15 minutes, so 4 degree. So 15 minutes if you convert degree 0.25 degree, you will get 4.25 degree. So final answer, the magnetic bearing, whatever will get, no, that magnetic bearing minus declination, you will get a true bearing. So that is 146 degree 146.25 degree. So here 0.25 is 15 minutes. If you convert 15 minutes, you will get the final answer in 146 degree 15 minutes. You can convert or you can directly do it, you will get the answer. Here next question, discuss any two advantages of contour map. So contour map, where we are going to, why we have to use. So we can use it for visual representation of the terrain. If you contour map provide clear visible representation of the shape and elevation of the land, and helping the understanding the topographical easily, you can understand very easily, and you can show the slope, valleys and peaks, and making easier to interrupt the landscape. There you can use it for this type of this is one of the advantage of the contour map. Next is you can use it for accuracy measurements. So accurate measurement is allowed to the previous measurement of the elevation changing between the different points, and useful for the planning, construction and designing roads, and study the water flow. There you can use it for these two will be an advantages of contour map. You can write this too, and I give an explanation. So next question mentioned a different method of contouring. There is a two types. One is a direct method and indirect method. In the direct method, we can measure the elevation of the specific point directly along with the map and connecting those points with the contours and providing precise elevation data. So indirect method, you are going to plot the contours using the instrument like a theodolite and total station, measure the horizontal and vertical horizontal distance and vertical angle, which is elevation of indirectly calculated. This method we can use it for those where the large areas and the difficulties in the terrains. There you can use this type of contouring methods. Some more information, please subscribe my channel and share and support. These are the points I've given more, so you can modify it and you can write for 2 marks and all. Okay, so thank you.